probably know, I went to the Scrum Master training the other week. Spent 2 days solidly just sitting there going through Scrum for 2 days. And it was interesting just to see 2 solid days of just the Scrum process, which you can kind of sum up on a single A4 page. So drilling into it over 2 days was interesting and enlightening. And I've pulled some of the stuff we got out of that into this little presentation just to do now. And it's funny reading the Scrum Guide. The interesting part of it is what's not in it, actually, because worked on a few Scrum projects. We did OUA and we did Peak down in Intrepid, and we've got a few going here. And there's all these practices people do when you're on the Scrum teams, and then you go on the Scrum training and they go, that's not actually necessarily part of the Scrum framework. Things like relative estimation and planning poker and stuff. Like de facto standards, people tend to do them, but they're not an official part of the Scrum framework. However, there was an exercise we did when I was in that course, and I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to replicate it here. So I've whipped this up. We'll get stuck in there, some relative estimation. That was interesting because here's again some of the teams we've worked on. We used relative estimation a lot, and especially during our sprint planning, we'd be estimating tickets at that point and using planning poker and relative estimation to plan for the sprint. And it's interesting on the course, they've actually gone, because when you're in a sprint, if you're going to break your story down into tasks and individual tasks, you can actually start estimating on hours, and you don't need to do, like you've got enough of a story and it's a small enough chunk that you can actually do a proper estimation, and you don't need this relative style of things. So, but what it is useful for is when you're doing all the stories in your product backlog, getting them ready for the sprint and customizing them so you can then do things like forecasts of when you think you're going to get jobs finished, and get a general idea of some vague story that's not detailed yet. You can use relative estimation to sort of get an idea of estimates, because businesses like estimates. They're hard to do, and they are estimates, they're guesses. Generally, you've got to take a bit of a guess. They're going to be wrong, but you need some kind of number. And there's a few different ways to develop estimates. What people in Scrum generally tend to use story points. Again, it's not something. Actually, when you look in the Scrum framework, there's nothing about estimation at all. You go through the Scrum Guide, and it doesn't say anything about estimation. You can run a Scrum process and do the whole thing and not estimate a single thing. If you like, you can just pick some stories and go, we think we can do those and do those in the sprint. But estimation is actually a useful tool. So basically, you're estimating on stuff that you already know. So you're basically doing a comparison when you're using relative estimation to stuff you've done before and what you're doing now, comparing the two and getting your estimation based on that. And it's a hell of a lot faster than trying to get all the details, break it down into individual steps, go over a whole project, get all the individual bits, work out how long each kind of bit's going to take, and add it all up. You're going to put a lot of work in there and probably be wrong anyway. We'll start going with this example of the stair climber. So you've got a few buildings there, and there's going to be a task that you've got to climb all the stairs in all those buildings, and you want to take an estimation of how long it's going to take you to do it. So there's a few things we don't know. We don't know how fit we are. We don't know how many flights of stairs are in the buildings. We're not sure how many stairs are in between flights. We don't know what obstacles are in the buildings, especially the old one. We don't know what the condition of it's like. We don't know that. So what are our options if we're going to give an estimate of how long it's going to take us to do that? We break down into these point classes. So here's the relativity part of it. Basically, you can kind of see that first building we had is, that's a certain size, and the next building along is 3 times bigger than that one. The next one is kind of like, a third the size of that, and this last one's 2 times the size of this one. So you can sort of see each building and get an idea of their relative size, and take a bit of a guess how many stairs we've got once you figure this one out. So I don't know if that's this slide or the next one. So what we're going to do though, in order to start doing this estimation, this 10 points, basically we figured out, because what we did, we actually went to this first building and said set a sprint time of say 10 minutes, and we got in this building and we started walking stairs for 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes we stopped the clock, counted how many stairs we did. And that gives you an idea of how many stairs you can walk in 10 minutes. And once you've got that, if you assume 10 minutes as your sprint goal, then you can start using that 10 minutes to go, you know, if I could do 10 stairs in 10 minutes, then you know, you can sort of go, there's 100 stairs in here, so that's, what's that, 100 minutes? My maths is terrible. But once you know how long, you know, you can sort of take a guess at how long it's going to take you to do this building, and since that one's 3 times higher, you can go, it's going to take you 3 times longer. You know, it'll be some maths in here, I think, in a second. But you get the general idea that once you've got a general idea of this chunk takes us this long, and this building's twice as big, it'll take us twice as long. There are complexities in there. Say it's an unknown, like it's an older building and there's obstacles, you can throw a little bit extra in there just to go, we think there might be a challenge in there, we'll just chuck a little bit more on like a 20% extra because there might be danger and stuff that we haven't considered about. But it's a very quick way to get a really good estimate of how long it's going to take to do the whole lot, just by doing a little bit.
And the top ones will be way slower than the bottom ones.
Yeah, well, but you can kind of, based on these estimations, because here at this point, you know, this one's going to take us 10 minutes, so that one will take us 30, straight away, you know, that'll about 60.
Yeah, I'm just saying
Right.
the last 10, you'll be like that, so it takes government.
Well, it's an estimation, you're not going to get it perfect, and even if you sat down and you went through and you counted all the stairs and you counted all the bits and saw all you've got to get your estimation, it's going to be wrong too. This is a lot quicker, a lot simpler, a lot easier. So, we've got to move into planning poker. Where is he?
He's not here.
He's not here.
Oh. Send it to
That's
him
disappointing, that was all.
Wasted a slide, hey?
Alright.
Oh, well.
I found that picture and I drew his name on that. What have we got? So, you've all done planning poker stuff before. No, not all of you. Who's done planning poker before?
Well,
yeah. Anyone who did course bank, we tried to do it.
Dan
had
had
a
a
class
class
at
at it.
I don't know, once. So, so we'll make the story points. We use cards to give a general estimate of points.
What's unserenity?
I don't know. It's a bad spell check. Unserenity.
Don't interrupt.
Sorry, that's really rude.
That's rude.
I'm not certain what that says. So what we have here is an example of a common set of story pointing cards, planning poker cards. You can get different sets that run in different kind of things, but this is a modified Fibonacci sequence. It's not actually Fibonacci because they just round things off to 20 and 40.
You need 2 1 cards too, and go half. Never.
Okay, fine. Right, anyway. It closely resembles a Fibonacci sequence. They do deliberately round these numbers off because it reinforces that it's kind of a vague thing that you're measuring. It's not an exact. If you go and put like 21s in there, you know, it's not exactly 21. It's approximate. So how do you play planning poker? So you've got a product owner in a Scrum project, who's the person that's in charge of the product backlog, basically going, what's our goals, what do we want to do next, what are the most priority things that we actually want to get done in the project. So he presents some stories with a story with some requirements, and then all the developers ask questions. They start going, what are the details, what's involved, and have a discussion around themselves and get a general idea of what that story is going to be. Interesting thing I learned was that Scrum Master's just facilitating that. The Scrum Master doesn't actually do any of the estimation. Unless, of course, I happen to be a developer as well. But as the Scrum Master, they're just running the process. They're not actually involved in doing the estimation itself. So each developer chooses a card out of the deck. You can see the cards, we'll get those out in a minute. So each player gets a deck of cards with this Fibonacci sequence on it. You pick a number. Once everybody's ready, you flip the cards over and then you go. If everybody's got the same number or within 1 or 2 cards of each other, great, you go pick one of those numbers and go ahead and go with estimated the story and move on. If you get to the point where there's 2 significant differences that somebody said like 100 and the other person said a half, then you get those 2 people to have a conversation and start doing, because clearly there's some information missing or something like that, and then you get them to bring to light some more information, and then you go around again and you estimate it again. until you get a general consensus on what the estimation is going to be. Sorry, point the card, move on. So we're going to have a party. But when we have the party, we want to have a fruit salad there. We're going to have a tropical themed party. So I'm going to be the product owner. I want to set up a party. I want you to make a fruit salad for me. I want you to tell me how long it's going to take. It needs to fit the tropical theme, of course. Thing is, it's okay. You know, you've never made a fruit salad before. I get that. You know, don't know how long it's going to take you. So we've got to figure that out. What we do know is, you know, I've done a bit of an experiment, and I found out when I throw a quick fruit salad together, I know, you know, based on our points, you know, blueberries really easy. You kind of just run them out of the tap, pour them in the bowl, done. It's 1 point's worth of effort. And apple, you know, all the fruit I wanted to cut up into little 1 centimetre square kind of pieces. So you're gonna have to cut that up and get that into the bowl. So that's about 5 points. The orange you're gonna have to peel and such like that. So that, you know, so it's a little bit harder. What was that?
What's with the creamy bag?
I liked it. And then it might bite you, hence the extra points. And then a pineapple is even harder again. So we know that's about 20 points of effort to get the pineapple cut up and peeled and everything into the bowl. But then we've got some other fruit we want to put in here, and we want to work out how long these things are going to take. So this is what we're going to estimate. I'm actually going to go get these pieces of fruit and go through a planning poker session. Consider each one of these a user story of their own. That again, you just want to get into the bowl. I want them in cubed pieces, so that I can have a bowl of fruit that fits a tropical theme, and these are the fruit I want in it. As a product owner, that's what I've said I want in the project. So we're going to go ahead and play. So I'll leave that screen up there. Of course, now we're going to do it.
Okay.